What it is yo girl Cadillac. Yes, I am Cadillac Dixon. I'm the Drama Life Prison Wife. I'm the legally blind artist that is rapping and painting for justice. Hoping y'all exhale with me. Hoping to see justice before all face too black. Hiss your girl Cadillac. Anyways, I am coming through because I got a story time for you, girl. Yes. Today's story time. Crazy. We going back to, I believe, the year of 2000. The time my boyfriend broke into my house, girl. Can you broke into my house? Do you understand what I'm saying? Crazy. Yes, I kissed some frogs before I found my prince. Oh my goodness. And I know what you're already thinking. You're up here fighting for a wrongfully convicted man, but you telling me that you went with somebody that broke in your house? Like, look at your track record, girl. No, but the thing is, one has nothing to do with the other. This guy was, he was no good. And if I at all felt like Mr. Jackson, my one now, was no good, and even if I felt like he was guilty of his crimes, baby, I would not be doing this time like this with him. No. I am with him because I know he's wrongfully convicted. I keep trying to show y'all the evidence. Y'all won't listen. Y'all don't want to hear the evidence, but whatever. He's innocent. All right, so let's get to this story time. Okay, so I don't know if y'all know I grew up in the church, so I could literally not do anything, go anywhere. I think the only place we went was school and church. That was it. My mama wouldn't even let me get a job, which I understand it now. You know how you understand by and by? I understand it now, girl. Oh my gosh, but I didn't understand it then. I couldn't do anything. I felt like my mother was just way over too strict and just did way too much. So when I got a job, my second job, I believe, was at it was called FedEx Ground. I don't even think they're around anymore. But I worked the 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. It was crazy. It was a part-time shift. Was it 8 to 10? I don't even know, but I know we had to be there by 4 a.m. So to get your full hours, you would have to work a double, which was not even really an 8-hour shift. They would have you come in at midnight and then stay till, that 8 to 10 or whatever time. And then you would get all your hours. So the way back then that I was able to hang out and be out, I would tell my mama I'm working a double tonight. Mom, don't look for me. Okay, so I was on the cusp of getting out of high school, graduating. I was in college. I started college a long time ago. Y'all know I just graduated in 2021. I started college in 2000. Yes, ain't nothing after that. I started in 2000. It took me a million years to get through college, but I did it, girl. Okay, so I was in college. Now, I have to tell you that day, I was with this guy. Now, you know them early 2000s in the 90s. The guys that had the beepers, the guys that they had this 8-pack. It was 4 goals. Goals were coming back in style or whatever. Did they ever go out of style back before the 90s? I don't know, but they was in style in the 90s, in that early 2000s. So here in Florida, we would call it an 8-pack. The 4 teeth, like all your front teeth right there, gold. Just gold, straight cross, back and forth, gold. Then it got to the point where they were putting diamonds in it and all types of stuff. And grills, grills was later in 2006-ish. So it was this guy. Maybe, can I tell y'all his name? Man, let me think of a name. Okay, name is similar, but it's different. Damon. I went with this girl named, did I say that? Crazy. Not a girl. I went with this guy named Damon. And he was light skinned, little yellow thing. Like, I I have never been into light-skinned guys at all. I've always liked dark skin to dark skin. Like, I love my black men for real. So I wasn't into the light skin at all. And then he had freckles on top of that. So that just wasn't my type. I have nothing against them at all, but it's just not my type. Everybody has something that floats their boat. And nope, that wasn't for me. But it was some about him. And he was a little husky. I was never into little husky guys. I always liked the thin, slim guys. You know, Marcello's perfect description. Hair, brown skin. Marcello wasn't quite, you know, I ain't gonna say he wasn't dark enough, but he wasn't really dark skin like my usual type. But he had the dreads. He was slim and trim. Girl, and he was fine. But Damon was fine too, but it just wasn't my cup of tea, whatever. He had these goals. He had the 8-pack, right? He had the car. Back then, the guys were getting the old school cars, whatever, the big body cars, and with the dark tint, the little drop down bag, the bass just booming, boom, 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 boom. That's how the thing would be, and it'd be rounding your ears and this and that, and you'd be like, ah! Okay, so that was Damon. He clearly, girl, if you could picture him in your head, you know he wasn't about nothing. But he had the car, he had the gold, he had the beeper, he had the money, he had stuff like that. So I was the little church girl that couldn't go nowhere. So I was mesmerized by him. Okay, so me and Damon this day is chilling at the house. Girl, I snuck him in there. I snuck him in the house. I snuck him in the house, girl. My mama was at work. I always knew when mama came home. So I knew by 4 p.m. or whatever time to be, you know, looking out for mama. Go ahead, get your stuff. You got to go because mama coming home. Mama always put up with that minivan. She had that minivan, that red minivan. I used to call it Clifford the Big Red Van. Yes. So I knew my mama would be pulling up with that minivan. So anyways, this day, I'm chilling at the house. Me and Damon, we on the couch. We just laying on the couch, whatever. Chilling, we hugged up, booed up, and stuff like that. But not really doing that. Now, this the one thing people's got to know. Anybody that knows me, girl, I was a tease. You wasn't getting nothing from me. I wasn't doing nothing. Now, I was not a virgin. I had tried some. We didn't know what in the heck we were doing. That was just a mess. That wasn't what I pictured. That ain't how Hollywood make you see. I'm like, this crazy. This ain't even nothing. So I was not trying to do anything. My motto was, if you give them some, they leave you. You don't give them none, they leave you anyway. So you might as well not give them none, right? So me and Damon, we just booed up. We ain't really doing too much, but mama didn't play that. Mama did not play that. So we're sitting on the couch, and all of a sudden, Damon looks over at my mother had this, you remember those cabinets where you could pull the cabinets open and inside would be like your TV, or you would have your stereo, you would have all your entertainment system. That's what it was called. I know y'all don't know nothing about that now, but an entertainment system, yes. Okay, so the entertainment system was open, but it wasn't really a TV in there. They had a TV somewhere else. I don't think it was, because we didn't just sit in that room like that. You know, everybody was in their own rooms and stuff. But it had a stereo. So I had stereo on, playing a little music while we booed up or whatever. So Damon says, wow, that's a nice radio there. I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's nice. Then I'm back to hugging up on him and kissing on him. And he's like, that's a nice stereo. I got one just like that. I'm like, oh, okay. It's nice. That's fine. Like, why do I care if you got a stereo like that, girl? That's crazy. So, anyways, hold on, y'all. So, anyways, the time had passed. 4 o'clock came. That minivan pulled up. Damon was in his little low rider and he was gone, right? So he told me that he would call me. Okay. He would call me when I got out of school. I had class. I always took evening classes, and then I would go to work like in the wee hours of the morning, whenever. Okay, so that day, now at FedEx ground, I used to unload trucks. I always been a tomboy. I always showed that I was the toughest. I was just as strong. I could do just as much as a man. Baby, I was built back then. Built, like for real. This is before I got my baby fed and all that stuff like that. I was built for real. And I was strong. I always been really strong. So I used to unload trucks. And I got down to the point where I was unloading them trucks fast. Like maybe in 30 minutes, I was doing a whole full rig. Now they did have two sizes of rigs, the big long rig, and then it's a little rig that's a little bit shorter. But I could do the big long rig in like almost less than an hour and a half to an hour. I was unloading a whole truck. So you would unload the trucks, put it on the conveyor to get it out to be scanned and this and that. Now, which reminds, they always kept me in a truck because when they would put me on the package thing to scan packages, I'd be going to bed. I'd be like this. They'd be like, you done missed all these packages. So they put me in the trucks to unload, right? So I wanted to go home. Like, I was not feeling it. I was tired. I did not want to be at work. So I kept trying to go home. I'm like, can I just go home? So my manager was like, yeah, but unload this truck first and then you can go home. And I'm like, okay. So I unload the truck and then I'm like, can I go home now? And he's like, oh, yes, but a truck just came in. Unload this truck here first and then you can go home. He kept doing that to the point where it was time to go home anyway. It's time to get home. Okay, so I head home. By the time I get off, lights up, it's daytime. Baby, I used to be so tired. Sometimes I used to have to just lay back and sleep in the parking lot before I go home. But this day, I wanted to go home. I've been wanting to go home, girl, but he wouldn't let me go. Okay. So I gets home. I pull up to the house. And I see the police. What the heck? What's going on? The thought that flowed through my mind was, oh my gosh, Mom called the police to put me out. She called them so they could escort me out the house. Okay. So, come to find out, when I got in the house, they said that there was a break-in. And that somebody came into the house through my window. And it was so funny. The police was like, yeah, they really ransacked the place. And I'm like, no, everything's where I left it. my room was girl, I'm the artist, and I'm a messy artist. So my room wasn't always the tightest. I'm like, no, because they was like, he ransacked the place. And I was like, no, this is how I left it. Girl. Anyways, so it was so crazy. They told us all this nonsense back in the day. We believed everything that people would tell us. So the alarm system, they told us you didn't need to have it on the back of the house because people try to break in through the front, which what sense that made? So there was no system alarmed on the back of the house, the doors and the windows and stuff like that. So when the perpetrator came through my window and then entered out into the dining room, living room area where we were sitting, chilling, that alarm went off and it went, wow, 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 wow. They said he quickly ran back out my room and left. Okay, so I'm like, oh my gosh, somebody tried to break in our house. And I'm like, whoever could it be? Like, what's going on? And I'm like, I know it can't be Damon. Damon wouldn't do anything like that. Girl, I had my heart so fixed on it was not Damon. I said, I know it wasn't Damon. I went to class. He had told me to call him. I called that man. I called him. Oh, this is the part that I forgot to tell you. That night after that little chill session, so I went to class and he told me to call him after I get out of class. So back then we didn't have cell phones, so I went to the payphone and called him. Calling him, he don't answer. Paging him, he don't answer. Nothing. I'm like, what the heck going on? Like, what's wrong with Damon? What's wrong with Damon? So he basically ghosted me that whole night because I guess he knew what his move was finna be in the morning. So, okay, crazy. I still wouldn't believe it. I'm like, no, he's going to answer. So I'm steady calling his phone. Damon never answered. Damon was trying to get that stereo. Like, are you kidding me? This freaking guy broke in my house. Like, we were supposed to be boyfriend and girlfriend, and you're literally trying to rob me. That's crazy. But yeah, so I never seen him again. Ever, ever, ever. That is so crazy. And he was from Miami. He was one of the Miami boys. Like, girl, why didn't I couldn't, like, okay, so I had that discussion with my daughter to let her know that there are red flags. Baby, there's red flags. When a relationship ain't cool, something wrong, you're going to see so many red flags. Now, the problem is we choose to ignore them. The man basically told me, I'm about to rob you. He kept talking about Mysterio. Like, I got one. He already had done stolen in his mind, girl. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead on. It is late. I'm going to go in the house. Hopefully you enjoyed that story time. And I'm going to bring you a couple of more. Like, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to bring you some more art because I got to get my watch time up. As always, it's your girl Cadillac. And I ain't got my little Juju with me, but you know he loves to chime in. He be like, it's your boy Cadillac. Anyways, see y'all later.